It's a 6:05, time for our business segment. We're talking a little business stuff. This is going to be cool tonight, especially if you're a gadget person or somebody in business needs some better productivity. I'm going to surprise you with this in a minute. Or maybe even you're doing some gift giving this year. First Partners Bank presents it. We got a lot of ground to cover here in the next few minutes. And look, the concept for this is a little business education at night, particularly for you upstarts, you new business people, small business people. People out there just riding around with a dream in your head. You want to own your own thing, do your own thing. We try to talk about all aspects of it to kind of open up your world to that a little bit. And all of it's presented by our friends at First Partners. And Bethany Meadows does a lot of work for them and produces. Bethany, this magazine, this Tools for Success magazine, which is kind of the print version of what we're trying to do here on the radio on Thursdays, it's just outstanding this month. We got our copies in today, and it looks great.
Thank you. Hot off the presses.
I'm telling you,
We're excited.
Oh, I got to smell it. It smells good.
You should smell my car.
No, this is such a professionally done, content-driven magazine with so many good ideas in it for small business people, and you just do such a great job with it.
Well, thank you. That was the whole idea behind Tools for Success, is to create a great resource for business owners, and not just fluffy stuff, but things that are helpful. So. And
a lot of the people in here, I'm flipping through the final magazine, have been on the show with us already.
Yes, I've been on the show, yes.
Remember the Wild Bird guy a couple of weeks ago? He's in there, and we've got our...
actually, that gentleman there that you're flipping by, Andy Schroeder, you see, right, Pat? Yeah. Next page. He'll be on next week.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
I feel like they're celebrities now. I've seen them in it. But it's just such good print quality, so easy to handle. You just do such a great job with it. Good stuff. But tonight... we're going to do something a little bit different rather than just the mechanics of running a business and theory and all that stuff. We're going to talk about some goodies. Let me get to our page and pull up all the goodies here in the back part of what you'll read. By the way, Bethany, tell us where we can pick the magazine up.
Well, right now it's available at the First Partners Bank branches, and you can pick them up there. I'm in the process of getting our distribution out there, so they'll be available soon at the public libraries and chambers and some of the business locations around town.
That's awesome. So look for those. You just pick one up. And Allan Wilson joins us tonight. He's an IT man, an expert.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about some gadgets that are good for business. So the article in the magazine is called 5 Tech Tools for Small Business. What does that mean, Allan?
Just some new tools have come out to kind of help you be a little bit more, work with software that's out there to make your business a little bit, work a little better.
Yeah, like what? Talk to me.
One of the big ones that we've got in here is called Swerve, and it's, if you've ever used Odesk, which is a way to find web professionals on the internet and get good pricing, they've kind of come out and a way for you to reach out to bloggers. So if you want to promote your product, it's a way for you to go on there, get competitive bids, and actually have them go out and talk and write articles about your product and promote it. And it's a real new kind of concept that's come out that's catching on a lot right now.
So let me make sure I got my small mind around this. You want some publicity. You want the internet, the blogosphere, whatever, to be buzzing about your product.
Right.
And you've got to employ, basically, those that have access to those audiences.
Exactly.
So you bid out and get somebody to handle this for you.
Exactly. You put it out there that you're looking for those people, and those bloggers will go on there and look and see and essentially bid for the opportunity to reach out to their audience. So it's a great way to get your product out there across the whole country or the entire world, just depending.
That's true. Once it's online, it's worldwide, I guess.
Exactly. And then it kind of gives you a little bit of SEO, which is search engine optimization. So it points back to your business website, which kind of promotes it and makes it even better off of that angle as well.
Fascinating. So what kind of businesses do this? Small products or services? Or?
Really, it kind of works either way. Probably a little bit more product-based. So if you're doing distribution, so if you've got a product that's at least trying to get out into a larger market,
right.
So maybe statewide or countrywide. If it's a smaller product, you can probably kind of angle after the local market a little bit better using other tools. But so if you've got a product that you're trying to get distribution for, this is kind of a good way to get it out there.
And so it's a Swerve. How do you spell it? Swerve.
Yeah, SVERV.
It looks like your tattoo, AJ. I just got a tattoo with it. It's a long story. We'll get into that some other time. All right, so there's another product on here called Tinderbox. What's going on with that?
Yeah, that's a great way for you to get all your marketing and sales literature all together in one place. So you go to your website, say you've got a couple salespeople, a marketing person, and you're constantly updating that literature, and it's easy to get old literature out there. And so if you want to keep everything up to date and make it easy for everybody to access it, you essentially upload everything to that website, and then anytime you've got a new version that you want to get up there, it pops it out there, and then all the professionals have access to it through the website, through their smartphones, tablets, laptops, things like that. So as your salespeople spread out all over the place, can pull up those documents and access them any way they need to. Email them out, present them.
So you're saying like photographers, graphic artists, writers, whoever that's editing your stuff that you're putting out there, y'all can all get it from different places.
They can use that, or if say you're another one of those product companies as well too, and you've got sales force spread out all across the country, and they want to be able to go into their clients' offices and promote that stuff. So you can distribute it from, say, here in Birmingham, and all your sales representatives in the different territories will have that updated literature before they even walk into the office. They just always know they've got the latest version out there.
Because, even in our business, numbers change.
That's right.
Things
That's right.
change, and you almost by a weekly basis, rather than the old days of having to reprint everything and burn all that paper and make all those edits and do it all in one central place. It can just be in real time.
Exactly, and you get to keep it on their devices too. So the salesperson can have a copy of it there on their phone or something, and then just automatically email it straight from their phone to the customer that they're sitting there talking to. So it gives all that information right there at their fingertips and keeps it up to date. So those numbers stay accurate.
Outstanding. Now, what is Neat Cloud?
Neat Cloud is a way for you to do something like Dropbox or Box.com. Everybody knows about Dropbox.
Sure. Yeah.
The nice one about this one is it's got the OCR recognition in it. So they've kind of
see that he went Chinese on me. What was that?
OCR recognition is the ability to read in text that's on a page. So if you've handwritten some notes on a page, then essentially you can use Neat Cloud to take a scan of that with your phone. Just take a quick picture, upload it to that cloud. It'll take the handwritten notes you have on there and turn it into actual words that's searchable. So
it can read chicken scratch and turn it into text.
As long as that chicken scratch isn't too bad.
Kind of semi-legible.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess I'm out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can just take, pictures of different things, receipts, notes, all the different things that you run across, and actually upload it, and it'll make all that searchable for you. So
and what does it do? File it, categorize it,
by
straighten it out for
date,
you?
by category, so it'll take the keywords out of there. So you can find some older receipts that you have. Say you went to Radio Shack 6 months ago, and you need to see how much something cost, and you just type in the name of that product and automatically pop that up for you.
And that's for a small business person, when a lot of times, especially if you're a sole proprietor, you're the bookkeeper, you're doing everything.
Exactly.
And keeping up with all those little slips of paper and all that is, when I was just solely in a small business, that was the biggest challenge. You wind up doing it 1 or 2 times a year, but this lets you maintain it. You don't have that tax deadline.
I was about to say, you'll make your accountant much happier. Instead of
know.
taking on that shoebox full of all the receipts and stuff, you've actually got everything online where you can just look for it.
Well, a big thing too is finding stuff. If it turns it into searchable text.
Oh yeah.
If you have a ton of files or paper, I've spent, I don't want to tell you how much time looking for stuff at times. So that's a big value.
Digging around trying to find that one receipt so that you can, even if you got to return a product or have a product dispute and need to have your receipt or whatever, it's kind of organized for you.
And you can use it for notes and things like that too. So how many times people use different products like Evernote and things like that, and they'll jot things down, and this is a way for you, for those handwritten notes, sticky notes, things like that, to turn them into searchable text. So you can use it for all kinds of things.
So is it a subscription based service? How does it work?
Yeah, they've got a free plan that you can start out with, and that's the nice thing about all of these accounts, except for the very first one we mentioned. Their prices are very reasonable, and you can kind of pick the size you want. But the Tinderbox and Neat Cloud both have trial accounts and free accounts that you start with, and once you get to a certain size, they kind of move you into a pricing plan. Very reasonable. I think the Neat Cloud starts at around $10 a month and kind of moves up from there depending on size and users.
First one's always free. And then
That's right.
They get you all hooked, and then you're in.
Hook you with free.
But that's confidence in your product when you can do
That's
something
right.
like that.
That's
People
right.
are going to like it and want to stay and spend more money for you.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to move on down the list here. Again, all these are profiled. I know a lot of you are riding down the road right now and you can't write all this down. Pick up a copy of Tools for Success at libraries and chambers and other places, especially around Birmingham, and you'll be able to just turn the page, whatever it is, and right here toward the back, and read all the other good stuff in there and find out about these products. binder. What's the deal? Is that this little man purse right here?
No, that's the next one that we're
Okay,
going
all
to
right,
talk
good.
about.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
get to that thing.
That looks ju-
Save the
That-
best for
That
last.
looks
That's
just
awesome.
like your bag.
Shut up, AJ.
I was just gonna say
AJ's
that.
he's always making fun of my bag. It's not a man purse. It's a tactical business assault bag.
That's right.
It changes every week. It changes.
I'm working on the name, but it's not a man bag. It's too big for that. All right, G-Doc binder. What's that?
It's kind of got the worst name, but honestly, I kind of like this one the best because if you've ever been in a business, and you've always got those procedures that you go through, and they change all the time. So you've got onboarding for new employees, you've got how you handle your sales process, and all that stuff ends up being pieces of paper. You eventually throw them into a binder. It's always out of date because it's always changing. GDoc Binder is a way for you to take all of that, scan it, put it on the internet, and then it automatically keeps it there so that you can access it. So if you have, say, a larger office or 2 offices, automatically your administrative person that's in charge of that just updates that one place, and then it automatically updates it for all the employees.
So, like, I'm trying to dig into that with my mind. What kind of documents are we talking about?
So let's just say it's a onboarding binder. So say you've got a binder in your office for
Right.
onboarding new employees, tells them about, how to do their time for the
new
day.
hires, like policy manual. Or something.
Exactly.
Right,
It's that
okay.
stuff nobody ever likes to read, but
Right.
somebody has to keep it up to date.
Sure.
And what happens is it's tough to get it out there to all your employees. So the service is very low cost, $10 to start off with your first set of 3 binders, I think it is. And then it's only $10 for every extra 10 binders. So it's very cost effective. And you put together the pages inside that binder just like a binder looks like now that you have.
Instead of the
And-
hard copy,
You've got a visual representation of that binder sitting on a web page.
is it read only, or do you download like a PDF, or how does that work?
Both.
Okay.
So you can actually view it and flip through it just like it was a book. So you can actually grab the pages and kind of flip them over and read it that way. And you can print particular pages or download the entire thing as a PDF.
I was telling my husband about this because he's a director of operations for an technology company.
Yeah.
And they have a procedure for everything. I don't think you can go to the restroom in that company without
Like
reading the procedure.
Policy manual?
Yeah, everything.
I
For
bet,
every
ours
move
is
they make.
bigger. No.
Policy manual. So trying to keep those things up to date when everybody's remote in different parts of
Yeah.
the country is almost impossible.
And you constantly have to update that because times change, issues pop up, and you're like, well, I got to put that in the manual now. It's like we just had to add no twerking in there. So,
Right.
Because that became a new thing. And suddenly, you know what? We better make a rule about that just in case. No, but you do. In the real world, you've got to keep up.
I mean, it's one of those things that's kind of dry and mundane, but if you've ever been responsible for putting one of those things together and keeping it up
Oh,
to
Lord.
date, I mean,
Nightmare.
it's impossible.
All right. So that's, again, G-Doc Binder. And it holds, was there a capacity limit on this thing? Or how
No,
does that
that's
work?
what's kind of nice about it. It's unlimited. So like your employee handbook that just keeps growing over time, you just keep throwing those extra pages in there and it's accessible for everybody. And they can get to it from anywhere, their house, out of town, if they're on a trip or anything like that.
How confident are you in the security of these things? I mean, these are your business documents.
Yeah,
On all these services.
Well, I think, realistically, we read about all the time where things are getting hacked into. I think today we read about an article where Amazon and places like that got hacked into. So it's something that you always have to be aware of. But realistically, these businesses, their entire businesses are tied up into that as well, too. So they've got just as much skin in the game as you do. And so they want to keep your information safe because if something happens to it, it affects their business.
Do you set
So-
your own passwords? In other words, say you got
Yes.
employees with access, but somebody gets fired, you can manage and terminate their access and all that.
Exactly. So GDoc Binder's got the ability to go in there and set up users. And so if somebody leaves or if a password needs to get changed, you've got the users have the ability to change the passwords and edit their profile a little bit so you can change colors and things like that. And then on the administrative side, you can remove or add new users.
Interesting. So I think we're just going almost paperless.
We really are.
The paper's ridiculous nowadays.
I think moving to the smartphones really kind of helped in that transition because
so?
now everybody has computers in their pockets.
Sure.
And so we've always kind of had laptops, but now the fact that you've always got a computer pretty much with everyone, it's kind of helped take that last little step for those gaps in between when you were in front of a computer, and it's just pushed it more.
I can clearly see a day when you walk into an office and you don't have that giant copy room with the stacks of papers and the fax machine.
Right.
We're all still doing it now, but as AJ and I operate the show, we've kind of done the show almost paperless for about 4 years now. We don't need to print stuff. It's just all right there. Now, if the internet goes down or we get a power surge, we're out of business.
Or I'm just acting everything out.
That's true. He mimes stuff.
I mime everything. Yeah, that's what I do.
That's weird. All right, now the thing that caught my eye in this article, and this is super cool. Describe this Sunny bag.
So essentially what it is they've got premium laptop bags. So your leather, your nice materials, nice stitching on them. They look really good. They're durable. But the nice thing about them is they essentially have solar panels, flexible solar panels built into the outside of the laptop bag. And they actually kind of pull off making it look halfway decent.
It does look cool, yeah.
It's not too bad. And the nice thing about it is so while your laptop, you're sitting there using it, and your laptop bag is just kind of sitting out there. If you're outside or if you're at your office and happen to be doing good enough to have a window there, it'll essentially collect that sunlight, and then it stores up. There's a little bit of a battery inside built into the bag, and so it stores that charge, and then you can plug in your smaller devices, so your phones, your iPods, your iPads, tablets, anything like that, and charge those back up. They're working on a new model, hopefully in the near future, where you can actually charge your laptop in there. They hadn't quite gotten the power capacity up for it yet, but any of your smaller type devices. So when you're at the airport and you run out of juice, instead of having to try to hunt down a plug, you can actually just plug it into your bag.
That makes it portable, and I mean, my mind's racing with the number of times I've run out of charge and I couldn't find an outlet. Or if you're at the airport, you always see those people sitting in the floor, in that nasty airport floor, because they found an outlet on some pole somewhere.
Yeah.
And airports are cracking down on people doing that. But how does this thing build up a charge and just hold it in the battery so you can be indoors having charged it outside?
Exactly. So while you're walking around, it's kind of thrown over your shoulder, or sitting in your car, you just always kind of face those solar panels up, and it's just kind of building up that charge over time. And then you plug and it's got the cords to plug in your different devices kind of built into it. So the cords are already kind of built into the bag.
So if you got an iPod, there's an iPod cord that connects.
Exactly.
To your
little
iPod.
adapters that you kind of pop on the end of it to make it work for the devices that you have, and they're kind of put in strategic places with little pockets. So you just kind of slide in the pocket, hook up the connector, and then just kind of forget about it for a little bit, and then check it after it's gotten charged up.
That's just a great idea on a number of occasions. Travelers, people that are maybe outside, just constantly having a way to keep your phone recharged. Mainly your phone, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one. That and your tablets, because a lot of people are using tablets and things like that now. And they've got smaller ones for your tablets just to tote that. So you kind of got options there. And it plays into that whole wearable technology that's getting so popular now.
Wearable technology. It's kind of freaking me out, man. What's the deal with that?
Google Glasses, things.
I don't even understand that. Tell me what Google Glasses are.
It's kind of got the way for you to see like it's the size of a billboard as you're driving down the road, essentially kind of right above your eye. And so it's got the ability for you to essentially tap the side of the glasses, and that little screen comes on. And it's
Can you see beyond it?
You can't. Well, you can't. It's kind of
eye?
transparent. It's just in one eye, and it's you can't really see through it, but it is a little bit of transparency to it. But the idea is just like you can see while you're driving down the road everything else besides the billboard, but you can also see the billboard. So it's so small that you can see everything you need to see, and just move your head a little bit if it's covering something up. But the little screen that's there, just like a billboard, is big enough for you to see things on it, and so they can display driving directions, so they can tell you turn left, turn right, and it just turns on, right when you get to where you needing to turn.
Wait a minute. So while you're driving and trying to pay attention to the road, you got this one little thing blocking your vision on one of your eyes.
It probably wasn't the best example, because I will say they just gave the first person a ticket for wearing them in California. Yeah,
they call it, it's a verb now. It's Google Glassing while driving.
That's right.
It's a verb. It's like if you're Google Glassing. So you can, now I understand, does it have a camera or some kind of ability to detect? Because somebody told me it's searchable, like you could look at somebody, could do facial recognition and look people up that you're staring at.
Crazily
That's
enough,
freaky.
Yeah, you can take pictures just by blinking your eyes. So essentially, they know if you're blinking one eye as opposed to the other one, and if you've got it in that mode, it'll just take a picture.
So
and automatically uploads it to your Google Cloud so that everybody can see the picture you just took if you have it set that way.
So if you got a twitch in your eye and your eye keeps twitching, you're just gonna be
taking pictures like crazy.
Shutter going crazy.
Got one of those things. It was something that was a bad childhood incident. So I could be walking around, I could look at AJ over there, and my Google Glass could scan him. I could look him up on Facebook and realize he has 2 cats.
It's definitely working in that direction. And that's right now. It's not for general use. You can't purchase them if you're not a developer.
Isn't that not creepy.
Yeah. I think, you know, right now the really, you know, the real use case of it is they're looking for special business uses. So like if you're, you know, an engineer looking at plans and having the plans pulled up. Yeah.
Is there a business application? Would it be practical?
I think definitely, you know, definitely for like engineers, you know, say you're an attorney and you're, you know, you need to pull up documents, you know, while you're sitting there in the middle of negotiations or things like that. And so there's different real world cases. And I think we're going to start off seeing it there because they're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And then
like how much roughly?
I think right now the developers, $1,500 to $2,000 a pair.
That's a couple of flat screens.
And I think you have to be a Google developer, which costs just a little bit to do it.
It's not out in the real world.
Exactly, and then you know they still look a little goofy. They're a little big and bulky, but
it's like when folks used to walk around with those earpieces on, talking on their phone. Like
that's right.
So you can be walking in the grocery store, Googling, looking at comparing prices. And
You'd fit right in at a tricky convention.
Yeah.
Nothing of it.
But you know, there's a lot of companies. Oakley's looking at doing the same thing, so they're developing those as well. So there's 2 or 3 different big name companies that are actually looking at, you know, that actually have copies of these we've got them in the real world.
So eventually, do you see this going down the road of everything you do on your smartphone right now can be done on your head without using your hands at all? Like you could hear the sound, you could play your iPod.
That's exactly what they're kind of moving into.
That's just creepy. Everybody will have a set of glasses on all of it.
Wow.
Getting a lot like Minority Report is what everybody keeps talking about.
Yeah.
So that you can kind of, you know, just control things without having to, you know, type and use the mouse like what we traditionally have had to do.
I can't imagine what that would do to relationships between people. It's like, why are you staring at me? Are you Googling me? I mean, you know, your wife's looking at me. Don't look at me like that.
Taking their picture and are you making a pass at me?
Like, I didn't make that face. Yeah, you did. Look.
You did. Look. I'm sending it to you right now.
I'm going to email it to you. Look at that face you just made. That's crazy.
They do say it's great for parents with like new children because they're holding the baby. And so that's what a lot of new moms that are playing around with it really like it because they're sitting there taking a picture of the baby while they're holding it and they're catching all those little intimate moments.
Yeah.
And they're able to kind of keep those. And that's kind of one of the hottest little things that everybody's using them, talking about a lot right now.
Because you don't need your hands to operate the phone. You have to put the baby down. I can't get my head around it. I'm moving to a mountain somewhere and living like a mom. I can't keep up.
Going off grid.
Look, these are great things, and I love the part of the solar bag there. I think that could be a hot seller. Is that a reasonable price range?
Yeah. I mean, you know, they're premium bags, so they're a little bit on the higher end as far as the bags sale. I think they start off at I think around $250, $260, and the most expensive one I think is around $400.
Okay. Right.
But considering how much a premium laptop bag costs, and the fact that it's got a solar panel plus the little adapters and a little battery that keeps the charge for all that stuff built in there, it's pretty reasonable.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good gift idea.
Bethany, let's talk again. The magazine Tools for Success can be picked up with all this information that it can be picked up at. Give me that again.
Either branch of First Partners Bank, one in Vestavia and one on South Side. We'll be starting distribution next week, so libraries, chambers, and a number of business locations will have them as well. And if you're a subscriber of Business Alabama here in Birmingham, you got one in your December issue.
Outstanding. So it's in the Business Alabama, and it's a good publication too. Bethany, we got another seminar coming up, First Partners?
We do. January 28th at 11:30 at Homewood Public Library. We'll be doing a workshop on building your marketing plan. And this issue of the magazine, we actually did an article, 5 Things You Should Know Before Building Your Marketing Plan. So it'd be good to read that before you come to the workshop. You'll be ready. And there's some homework in there you need to do before you come. So pick up a copy and you'll be ready for that. If you want to reserve your spot for the workshop, you call Leslie West at the Homewood Public Library, and her number is 205-332-6620.
Outstanding. Allan Wilson, Wilson Computer Support. We appreciate you, man.
Hey, it's been fun.
This guy can go, man. He knows all this stuff. I'm gonna talk to him. I don't want to buy another doodad. Good stuff. Good tools. All right, we're going to do this bottom of the hour break. We'll come back and hit the home stretch, wrap this show up for tonight. Stay tuned. Phone calls when we return, 941-1011, 866-551-9933. Thanks to First Partners for being the sponsor for this segment and doing all they do to promote and educate people in business. Back here in just a minute.